Oh, no.
All right, you guys, we are going to go ahead and get started. So thanks again for another hard week of practice. I'm going to take a couple minutes just kind of giving you a little information about me and what I do outside of here, and then I'm going to introduce you to my darling business partner. So outside of coaching cross country, I'm in the health and wellness space. So food and exercise science is my degree and my background. About 5 years ago, I started to dive a little heavier into sustainability as it relates to the environment, and became really invested in understanding more about digital wellness and the way it affects our youth. Primarily from working in the high school setting, to be very honest with you. So I enrolled back in school 2 years ago. I finished my degree in March in digital wellness. Thank you, it was very exciting. Knows my computer skills, that was a feat in itself to be on school online. So Peyton is definitely the genius that handles our back of the house stuff. So anyways, throughout the process, I really stay connected with a lot of past athletes. It really warms my heart to stay a part of your life. Peyton and I reconnected, and she also shared with me her passion for digital wellness, in particular as it relates to social media. So through these passions, we actually started a company together called Less Media, More Me. We were so honored to be a part of Digital Wellness Day, which was an international conference. And I will tell you that Peyton hit it out of the park. Since then, we've collaborated with a lot of different mental health organizations to really try to bring this message forward. So without any further ado, I'm going to let Peyton introduce herself.
Hi everyone, I'm Peyton. I graduated from LHS in 2019, so I'll be a third year in college, and right now I'm at Cal Poly in California. And so ever since I graduated, like especially it was like my senior year in the transition to college, where I really noticed kind of like the shift in my relationship and then my peers' relationships with social media as well. I feel like ever since then it was just kind of on the steady decline, and I don't know if that was because of like the introduction of like TikTok, the pandemic, and in my life especially, it's affected me in so many different aspects, especially like the last previous year. And so when I'm talking to you guys today, also I just wanted to give like a quick content warning. There might be like some mention of like mental health or eating disorder struggles, so I just want to let you guys know that beforehand. But I'll turn it back over to Anne-Marie for kind of the conversation and questions as well for today.
Excellent. So let's go ahead and start, and let's just talk about the idea of social comparison and how that affects mental health. I just want to also thank you for giving that trigger warning. Peyton and I are going between the two words, both brain health and mental health. We know that brain health, that our brain is a muscle and it requires sleep and energy and movement and hydration and all those things. So we are going to use the words interchangeably. So again, what you view social comparison, how it affects specifically your mental health, or how you feel it's affecting your peers.
Yeah, so I know for me, one thing, especially the last couple years I've noticed is that I was like constantly comparing myself to my peers, whether that was in my sorority or the people that I lived with or the people that I would see like walking around campus. And I think that was just in the nature of having more access to people's lives on social media. For example, um like every day or so, like my sorority would post something that was like either like pictures of girls in my sororities or like what they were doing. So I was seeing that. And then I would go to class, like walking through campus, and I would see like a ton of kids my age. And then I would come back to my dorm and like unwind on my phone like most people do for however long that was, maybe like the 30 minutes I had before I needed to do homework, I needed to do other things before going to bed for that night. And I would just see like all these different things about like my peers and what they were doing, and it put me in a really like bad place with myself and self-confidence, because I was just constantly comparing myself. And like we all know that social media and Instagram and all of that, it's like it's literally a game. Like none of it's real. It's like literally just like the highlights and the best points of like your life and what you're doing. And it normalizes a lot of things that honestly like should not be normalized at all. And it really made it hard for me to kind of set a boundary and distinguish between like what was normal on social media and what was normal in like real daily life. And so I think that just kind of like made it into something that was so much larger and so much worse than um like the apps, the like meaning behind them itself, because like you can only take so much of that before it really starts to like dig at you and affect you, kind of to the point where like it's more than unhealthy. Like I honestly believe social media is probably one of the most unhealthy things there is. And the thing that sucks too is like it's always going to be here, like no matter what. Like I still go on my phone, I still go on Instagram, people still like run their businesses through Instagram, whatever. It's like something that's not going to go away. But I think it's definitely something that we can like kind of all work on to like break certain aspects and stigmas of it, because I think that people like each and every one of you know like how terrible social media actually is, and like its effect on you, but you really never want to like say anything because it's so normalized, or like there's like a kind of almost like a certain rush that you get from like posting on social media, interacting on social media, and it makes you feel more comfortable amongst your peers, which I know was like a big thing for me too. Like if you didn't know like the latest trend or like the latest like I guess it like humor, I guess like you would feel really left out because that's like all anyone's ever talking about. But like as I was saying, like each of you know that it is like one of the biggest I don't want to say like enemies, but it's like one of the biggest problems that are like that's affecting mental health today. It's just very unspoken about because it is such a normalized thing. It's such a large thing in our daily lives.
So talk a little bit about, we talk a lot about consumption. So one of the things when Peyton and I first started collaborating, and I do have a background in ED, if you did not know that. So I actually compare eating disorders and digital addiction into the same category, because there are two things that you actually can't take away. You're always going to have to eat. You're always going to have a relationship with technology. So it's a little different than how you would treat drug addiction or alcohol addiction, where those things can be taken away. So when we talk about consumption, talk a little bit about your relationship with technology and how what you're consuming has changed in the past year.
Yeah. Uh so I would definitely say within the last year, like what I was consuming was way more toxic than say what I was consuming in like high school or maybe even 2 years before. I think one of the biggest problems was that I was seeing like as like I bet all of you have seen these on TikToks. I would like constantly see like what I eat in a day, like body checks, like here's what I'm wearing today. And there's like, I feel like social media definitely normalizes like a body type for, or like how you're supposed to look for a certain way, but it's also temporary. Like it constantly changes. So like that's one thing that I know I really struggled with is like you can like drive to look like the standard now, but that's not going to be like the beauty standard. Like it could not even be the beauty standard tomorrow, or it could not even be the beauty standard in like a month. It's just going to be like constantly changing. You're literally going to be constantly unhappy with yourself, like no matter what, because you're seeing so many like different like body types, different lifestyles, different all of that. And it's just it's so negative because it's like, one, it's not the truth. Like you can literally alter your appearance and like you would never even know if someone did it. Like it's like people are like that good at it. um and then two, there's like also there's a huge difference between like you sitting down on your computer and doing schoolwork for 3 hours and then you going on like Instagram whatever and seeing all of that for 3 hours. And I think that's something to really distinguish too. Like technology of course is like we use it, like I said, every day in our lives, and like there's a ton of beneficial aspects of it. But I would just be mindful of like how much time you're spending on certain things. I know for me, like one thing that like really got me in like a dark, like terrible place was like on TikTok and Instagram, like watching what I eat in a days. And I would like go on these like pro Anna websites and I was like, wow, this is normal. Like this is what people are doing. I'm not doing anything wrong. Like all of that. And you have to like take a step back and be like, well, that's one, not normal, and two, not healthy. And it's really hard to make that I guess like distinguishable decision because like I think when you see something on social media or technology, like you believe it that instant. You're like, okay, this is on like a platform, like it must be valid, when in reality it's just not. It's not coming from a professional, it's not coming from someone with like a degree in what they're talking about. It's literally like I could literally go on there and say anything and someone could believe it just because it's on the internet.
So I'm gonna ask one more question and then I want to open it up for questions because I don't want to leave people kind of hanging if they've got things that are at the top of their head. So if you would have known, if you had one thing that you would have known and that you would have done differently, do you have that? Was there an aha moment where you wish you would have changed the trajectory of your experience?
Yeah, definitely within the past year. I like when I was diagnosed kind of with everything in January, and then I had to drop out of school for a couple of months, that and then you like step back and you're like, excuse my French, like holy shit, like what am I doing with my life? How did I let it get to this point? Like because of like, it's like social media apps. You're like, how in the world could something have like so much control over me? And like why would I put so much value on something that's so superficial, I guess? And like I don't know. It just like it really like it's really troublesome to me that like, and I'm still so guilty of it, just like only putting like the highlights, like kind of almost every aspect of your day so comfortably on something that like everyone can see and you kind of see everyone's like every movement. um and so my advice, like if you guys are struggling kind of with your relationship with technology, is like just to take a break, even if it's for like a day, and like actually like physically see how much of a difference it makes. Like I know like immediately, like I logged off of Instagram for a couple months, kind of like all social media, didn't really like contact anyone except for my friends and family over like Instagram or whatever, like only text and calls. And I was less anxious. I couldn't even see the stuff that I didn't need to be seeing. It just like it makes such a difference on your life. And like even if it's like not going on Snapchat for a day and like constantly seeing what someone else is doing, it's just like those small steps that will eventually lead into bigger ones that kind of will like progress your overall